cannot be all there is for you. You are doing everything you know how to do, and it still feels like you are stuck in the same place. You get up, you push through the day, you go to bed, and it feels like you are living the same year over and over, just with different dates on the calendar. Inside, you are tired and frustrated, even when you do not say it out loud. You look around and people think you are fine, but they do not see the nights you cannot sleep because your mind will not shut off. You are carrying pressure in your chest that nobody knows about because you keep saying you are good when you are not. You keep waiting for the fear to go away before you move. You keep telling yourself, when I have more money, I will start when it calms down. I will try. When I feel more confident, I will take the risk. Deep down, you already know that day is not going to walk up and introduce itself. Faith does not mean you sit there until you suddenly feel brave. Faith means you move your feet while your knees are still shaking. Walking by faith is when you decide you might not see the whole road, but you refuse to stay stuck in the same spot one more year. Most of us love control, and we love having a plan. We want a plan, a backup plan, and a backup for the backup. As long as everything fits inside that plan, we feel safe and calm. Then life throws something that does not fit in your script, and your plan falls apart. The way you thought it would go is not how it is going, and you feel like you are losing your grip. That scary space right there is exactly where faith starts. Maybe you plan to stay at that job for 10 more years, and they called you in and let you go. Maybe you thought that relationship would last forever, and one day it was just over. Maybe you plan to be further ahead by now, but when you look around, you feel like you are behind everybody else. There will be seasons where God does not hand you a full blueprint. Instead, you get a nudge, a quiet push in your spirit that it is time to move. No matter how many times you run the numbers, it still does not make sense on paper, and that is what faith territory feels like. Some of you are trying to drag an old plan into a new season, and that is why you are exhausted. You are begging God to bless a plan that is too small for who you are becoming. Walking by faith sometimes means letting that old picture of your life fall apart so something real can be built. Faith is messy, and it is rarely comfortable. It looks like trying something and watching it flop, then learning from it and adjusting and trying again. It looks like people not understanding you and you doubting yourself at 2 a.m, but still choosing not to quit. When you hit that wall where your plan has run out and your pride is bruised, that is not proof that you are finished. That is proof that you have reached the limit of your own power. From there, you either stay stuck and call it over, or you step out and let faith carry you further than your plan ever could. A lot of you are stuck not because you do not know what to do, but because you want to know everything that will happen if you do it. You want step 1 through step 50 printed out in clear detail. Until you see all of it, you stay still and call it being careful, when it is really fear dressed up as wisdom. Walking by faith does not give you that kind of comfort. You are not going to see the whole staircase. What you get is the next step, and for most people, that next step either feels too small to matter or too scary to want. The next step might be sending that email or making that phone call. It might be signing up for the class or asking for the meeting. It might be putting the first $20 into savings when the bills are still yelling louder than your goals. A lot of people hide behind endless planning. They sit in meeting after meeting and fill notebook after notebook. They read every article and listen to every podcast, but their life does not actually move. Faith is like driving at night, where you only see as far as your headlights shine. You do not see the whole highway, but you keep moving anyway. As you drive, more of the road appears in front of you, and it is the same with your life. Once you start taking small steps, something changes inside you. Your confidence stops coming from pep talks and starts coming from motion. Every little action proves to your own mind that you are serious, and your faith grows because you start seeing real evidence that things can shift. Right now, instead of asking for a full master plan, Ask yourself one honest question. What is the next right step you can actually take today? Then have the courage to take that step, even if your voice shakes and your hands sweat. Some of you are still angry about doors that closed years ago. Every time you think about it, you feel that sting again. You did not get the job, the promotion, or the call back, and you took it as proof that you were not good enough. What if that closed door was never punishment? What if it was protection? What if it was God saying, I heard conversations you did not hear and saw traps you could not see, so I am not letting you walk into that. Think about the jobs you begged for that you did not get. Looking back, if you had gotten some of them, you would still be there right now, stuck and miserable. You would never have stretched, and you would never have discovered what else you could do. The same thing goes for relationships that ended. You cried and told yourself that if they left you, it must mean you were not worth staying for. If they could not value you or respect your calling, that door closing was a blessing you just did not recognize at the time. Walking by faith means trusting that you can move on without having every why question answered. You may never fully understand why that opportunity disappeared or why that person changed. You can still decide that your future is bigger than your confusion. While one door is closing, your job is not to camp out in front of it, replaying how it shut. Your job is to keep growing so that when the right door swings open, you can walk through it instead of standing there wishing. Growth now prepares you for opportunity later. From now on, when a door closes, feel the disappointment, but do not live there. Wipe your face, straighten your back, and say to yourself that the door was not yours. If it was not yours, you do not want it, and you keep walking until you find the one that truly is. Some of you grew up with chaos as normal, and you do not even realize it yet. You grew up with arguing in the next room and overdue bills on the table. You grew up with people leaving without explanation and being told to be realistic every time you dared to dream. When that is all you see as a child, it starts to feel like a ceiling you are not allowed to break. You start to believe that people like you do not do things like that. In your mind, success and peace belong to some other kind of family, not the one you came from. Your environment wrote a script in your head that says we always struggle or nothing ever works out for us. Scripts like that are powerful, but they are not final. Walking by faith means you decide that the story you were handed is not the story you are required to live. Maybe nobody in your family ever went to college or started a business. Maybe nobody ever owned a home or had a healthy relationship. You have the chance to be the first one to do it differently, even if it means learning as you go. The same background that hurt you also trained you. It made you resourceful and tough. It taught you how to keep going when you are tired and how to stretch a little into enough. And those same survival skills can turn into success skills when you aim them in the right direction. You do not have to hate where you came from to outgrow it. You can honor your family and still refuse to repeat every pattern you saw. You can love your people and still know you are called to more than what was normal around you. Every time you choose growth over comfort and healing over repeating the same hurt, you raise that ceiling a little higher. Not just for you, but for the ones coming after you. That is what walking by faith looks like when you refuse to let your starting point decide your final destination. Everybody wants purpose, but nobody volunteers for pain. We want the wisdom without the wounds and the testimony without the test. Real life does not work that way because the experiences that nearly broke you are the same ones that can make you powerful if you let them. Think about the hardest season you have lived through so far, the one you do not like to talk about, and the one that still makes your voice shake when you tell the story. Whatever that season was, it gave you something that easy times could never give you. Walking by faith means you stop pretending you were never hurt. You start letting God use what hurt you to help somebody else. Your scars are not there to shame you. They are there to prove that you survived. Maybe you fought your way out of addiction or climbed out of debt. Maybe you raised yourself emotionally. because the adults around you were broken. Maybe you buried people you loved and still found a way to keep breathing and functioning in the world. None of that disqualifies you from a good future. It actually gives you the authority to speak to others stuck in that same darkness. When you tell them, I have been where you are and I made it out, that is faith in motion. Using your past as fuel instead of dead weight. That does not mean you skip the healing work. It means you lean into it and do the therapy and the prayer and the journaling and the honest conversations. Healing is not weakness, it is training, and it is you learning to carry heavy things without them crushing you. Instead of asking why me, start asking what now. Ask what you can build from this and what you can understand now that others cannot. Ask what strength you discovered in yourself that you did not even know was there. And then walk by faith using that strength on purpose. A lot of people are in love with the idea of success. They love talking about where they are going and how big it is going to be. When it is time to sit down and do the boring, consistent work, they disappear. We romanticize the big break and the overnight change. We want one moment where everything turns around and somebody discovers us and all the struggle ends. In reality, most real success is not fireworks. It is bricks laid one by one over the years. Discipline is not punishment. It is a gift you give your future self. It is you saying, I care about you enough to sacrifice for you right now. Walking by faith is not just shouting that you believe it, but also setting the alarm when you are tired and turning off the television when the show is good. If you are a writer, it means you write when you are not inspired. If you are trying to get healthy, it means you move your body on the days when you would rather stay in bed. If you are trying to get out of debt, it means saying no to things that everybody else around you is buying. The hardest part is that tiny steps do not look like they are working at first. You go to the gym and you do not see much change. You save a little money and the account still looks small, and you post your work online and nobody reacts. Tiny steps compound over time. You read a little each day and suddenly your thoughts are sharper. You save a little each week and suddenly you have options you did not have before. You make one call a day for a year, and that is hundreds of seeds planted where you once had nothing. Pick one action that matches your dream and commit to doing it over and over. Do not wait until you feel like it or until it is convenient. Let that small, consistent step become part of who you are and watch how it quietly builds a life that big talk alone could never create. One thing that breaks a lot of hearts is expectation. You thought your friends would be your biggest cheerleaders. You thought your family would say, "We are proud of you," and instead some of them laughed or doubted or told you to calm down. It hurts when people you love do not see what you see. You want them to understand your calling and to feel your excitement. You want them to approve, and when they do not, it can make you start shrinking your own dream. Remember that God did not send a group message when that vision dropped into your heart. That dream was not announced on a loudspeaker. It was handed to you and you alone, and that means other people might not recognize it at first. Many times, the people closest to you are not being evil. They are being scared. They are used to you in one role, and your growth threatens their comfort. Your decision to climb higher quietly exposes their decision to stay where they are. You have to learn to hear the difference between wise guidance and fear-based opinions. Real love might question your plan, but it will not belittle your calling. Real support might warn you about real risks, but it will not mock your growth. In the early stages of a dream, you must guard it like a flame in the wind. You cannot let every opinion blow on it. And you cannot share everything with everybody. Some people only show up to poke holes, and you cannot let their doubt leak into your spirit. Decide that you will be the main person who believes in what God showed you. Others can catch up later if they want, but their agreement is not required. You were not called by a committee, and your faith has to be stronger than their confusion. You can be serious about your future, but if you surround yourself with people who are serious about wasting theirs, you will feel that pull every day. You do not rise above your environment easily. You usually match it without even noticing it. Pay attention to the conversations you have most often. Are you always complaining, gossiping, and blaming everybody else for where you are? Or are you talking about ideas, solutions, and growth? Outgrowing people can be one of the most painful parts of walking by faith. You love them and you share history with them. You shared struggles and inside jokes and memories, and now you want change while they want comfort. This is not about thinking you are better than anyone. It is about recognizing that you are moving in a different direction. If you are trying to stay sober and your crew lives at the bar, that is a problem, and it will drag you back. Look at who drains you and who fuels you. After you spend time with someone, do you feel lighter or heavier? Do you feel more focused, more confused, and more energized or more exhausted? If you say there is nobody around you who pushes you to grow, then you start building that circle intentionally. You use books, messages, and mentors even from a distance. You learn from people who have walked the path you are trying to walk. In the end, you decide who gets a front row seat to your life. You decide whose words get to echo in your head when you are tired. Make sure the closest voices are the ones that remind you who you are and where you are going, not the ones that keep pulling you back to who you used to be. Some of you are fighting battles on the outside, but losing the war on the inside because of what you keep saying to yourself. You wake up speaking defeat over your own life. You tell yourself you are tired, unlucky, behind, and stuck. You cannot pray for a breakthrough and then spend the whole day talking like a victim. Your mouth is steering your mindset, and your mindset is steering your actions. Walking by faith means your words need to start lining up with where you are going, not where you have been. This is not about pretending everything is fine when it is not. It is about telling the truth with hope instead of telling the story as if it is permanent. Instead of saying nothing ever works out, you say you have had some rough seasons, but you are still here. Pay attention to those always and never phrases you use. Phrases like you always mess up, or you never get picked, or you always get the short end. Those are scripts you are writing and then acting out without realizing it. Start speaking life over your own name. Say your name and attach something strong to it. Say that you are learning and you are growing and you are healing and you are building and you are capable. Make it a habit to catch yourself when your mouth starts to spiral. When you start complaining, flip it and name something you are grateful for. When you start doubting, flip it and remind yourself of a time you made it through something you thought would break you. Walking by faith means you let your words point your feet. If you keep saying you are stuck, you will stay stuck. If you start saying you are moving forward, even if it is slowly, you will begin looking for ways to move, and your actions will start to match your language. Some things happened to you that you did not deserve. Some of you were lied to, cheated on, abandoned, abused, and overlooked. None of that was your fault. When it comes to your healing and your future, you cannot hand all that power to the people who hurt you.